Notes and takeaways from this session can be downloaded from the podcast show notes. This is our third and final live and in-person inspiration session for 2024, specially created for Elevate by Matt Bolton-Alarcón of Special Source Training, ensuring that our community receives the most valuable and impactful content, tools, resources, and inspiration. Matt has worked for the last 2 decades in learning and development. He's trained thousands of people all over the world from companies like Google, L'Oreal, and Innocent. The title of Matt's talk tonight is all about creative thinking, which is just as well because LinkedIn, the World Economic Forum, and McKinsey all agree creativity is at the top of the list of skills demanded by employers. This podcast is recorded at the Crown and Two Chairman pub in Soho with a live audience.
We're delighted to welcome back to the Elevate stage, Matt.
What a warm welcome. Hello, everyone. Welcome to a session on creative thinking, the most demanded skill in the world. But it isn't, I'm afraid. It is the second most demanded skill in the world, which reminds me of a trip I did at the start of summer. Anyone here from Yorkshire? Wow, that's really strange. It normally happens. Anyone here from the north? Anyone heard of the north? Okay, so I went up to see family, and we always have a bit of a day trip somewhere new and a bit different. And we went over to North Yorkshire, a place called Whitby. What's Whitby famous for? Inspiration for the book? The book Dracula, but I'd love to hear what the other... Yeah, a whale as well, is that? Yeah, absolutely. But Dracula, Bram Stoker, 1890, Wuthering Heights, lots of inspiration there. But it is also famous for, thank you, fish and chips. And we got a bit of advice on where to go. And we went to this fish and chip shop. We had a bit of choice. And it was Whitby's voted second best fish and chip shop. And I went in, I was like, I'm feeling pretty safe hands here because it's famous fish and chips. It's going to be good. But I sat down and my first question was, what's the voted first fish and chip shop in Whitby? And they were like, oh, a bit flummoxed by it. But it was still very good. And I think you're all wondering, well, what's the first most demanded skill in the world, everyone? Well, just down the road, if you want to go, there's a session on analytical thinking, the number one most demanded skill in the world. I'm not the person to run that, but feel free, go for it. It's 3 doors down, go for it. It'd be great fun. But it is right up there in the most demanded skills of around the world. Now, this is done every few years. And when I first set up Special Source in 2014, they did a report at the World Economic Forum, and creative thinking wasn't even in the top 10 of skills demanded. And through the years that I've been doing this kind of work, by the way, I've never had that slide photographed as much in my life. So I hope there's no typos up there, but there we go. It's risen up the charts. I'm hoping next year I can do it as the most demanded skill in the world. And it's put down to the fact there's so much disruption, so much opportunity with technology. It's a VUCA world, i.e. it's uncertain. We need to think creatively. And look at the others, things like curiosity, flexibility. For me, that is all part of creative thinking. So it's important stuff. But tell me, everyone, if I was to ask you to grade yourself, level of confidence in being a creative thinker day to day, if 0 was here in the middle using your hands, you got a drink, just be careful with it. Red wine, white cardigan, cream cardigan. So show me 0 to 100. How confident do you feel in your ability to be creative every day? Show me, okay? Some people are wavering, doing the classic, yeah. So look at this, look at that overconfidence at the back, and that's great, fantastic stuff. You can stop. Thanks for being so diligent, but you can stop. My job, the work I do, is just to improve people's confidence, okay? By framing as to what creativity is all about, okay, number one, and giving people some simple tactical tools they can use every single day, okay? Now, I do this all around the world. I've worked with Google for the last 10 years, and I've trained about 20,000 Googlers around the world in the art of creative thinking. I'm working with them in the next couple of weeks. That's me, as you can see, 0 grey hair 10 years ago. That is what children do to you, okay? That's me in Japan with a team of people, creative thinking in a very different context where in the culture, in a business situation, you'd always default to the leader for the answer. That isn't a creative culture. Actually, the best ideas can come from some of the most junior, fresh people. So training all around the world with companies like you see up here. I even teach drug development scientists how to think creatively in their day-to-day work at Roche, okay? So that's the kind of work I do. So just checking you're feeling safe hands for the next 42 minutes of your life. Is that all good? Okay. But if not, analytical thinking, 3 doors down. Fish and chips is crap there, though. Don't worry about it. Right, okay. So let's get into it. A bit of audience participation, if that's all right now. Okay, going to put you on the spot. Really deep question. How do you define creativity? Okay, so just have a little ponder. Yeah? What does creativity mean to you? And then I'm just going to randomly point at a few people, if that's all right. So, Susan? Right, okay, so actually, I define creativity as certain people are creative, I'm not. I don't badge myself as creative, so it's almost like a special skill, right? Okay, cool. Thanks for going first. Who's happy to go? Yeah. Nice. Nice. Colour and versatility. I love that. What else have we got? How can you be different? Are you asking me or, yeah, so no, but yeah, how in any situation, how can you be different? How can you think differently? How can you stand out? Andy? Yes. Fantastic stuff. Lovely stuff. But often there's a real array of how people define creativity, and some of it isn't that healthy. Some people think it's just about the winning of awards. You know, it's all the stuff at Cannes and all that. That's the creative stuff. It's certain roles in a department. And a lot of you are in the creative industries. You're in the world of events and beyond. And there's certain people that maybe have creativity in their job title. How I frame it is, it's just the daily practice of approaching our challenges in flexible ways, okay? Quick physical metaphor to bring this to life. You can join Zoe. If you can just gently fold your arms, just cross your arms like that. Now, apart from a 1970s body language course that says you're being defensive doing that, which you're not, how does that feel for most people in the world, folding your arms like that? Secure. It's quite normal. It's quite comfortable, yeah? Just what I like to do is unfold your arms, shake them out, and then refold them back the opposite way around. How does that feel for most people in the world? I can't do it. It's a bit strange, uncomfortable. One person once said to me, is that the devil's work? Because it just can't work. It's just because that way isn't as practiced as the other way. So I believe that a lot of creative confidence comes when people make it part of their day-to-day, but often they don't spend much of their day being creative. It's a day of execution and getting shit done, okay? So it needs to be every day. Love Andy's thing. It needs problems to solve. You know, I don't think we're in industries that you can just have people walking around like a creative muse all day going, hey, what if we tried this? What if we did that? And you're like, who are these people? You know, why are they wearing that turtleneck sweater? You need problems to solve in order to get creative from. Nothing wrong with turtleneck sweaters, by the way. Totally fine. Wrong season. And flexible ways. Flexible ways is looking at your situation. If you don't like the word creativity, it's just about thinking differently. It's just about being flexible. Okay. Everyone cool with that? Yeah, you can only answer that if anyone asks you that question in the future. Now, a lot of people get very excited when you mention creativity about one end of a spectrum, the disruptive side of creativity, you know, kind of brand new ways of disrupting a category and industry. If you look at the world of banking, First Direct, we don't need branches. We just do it all online, all through amazing customer service online, Airbnb, all the poster children of innovation creativity. That is all great, but I think the more exciting side of the spectrum, come in, Gordon, old friend. Say hello to Gordon, everyone. Give him a round of applause. I've worked with Gordon for 20 years. He taught me how to do this. He is the granddad of... No, he's not. But I get as excited about the more incremental end of the spectrum where people are actually looking at what they've got, you know, the day-to-day, the product they've got, the events they run, and thinking, how do I just incrementally improve those to make it better than last year, a bit different than last year? How do I pitch in a slightly different way? I get as excited about that because I think that's more everyday, a bit more feasible, a bit more practical every single day. So there we go. So let's bring this to life. I'm going to give you some tips on how to be a bit more creative on the more incremental stuff every single day. Little exercise. You're sat near someone, I believe. I want you to do a very quick exercise. It takes 30 seconds. If you're listening on the podcast, you can write down these answers on a pad. So if you're listening right now in the future, just do the exercise on your own. I'd like you, in 30 seconds to name as many different uses of a paper clip as you can. I'm going to give you the first for free, so no one has any blank expressions, okay? No one's going to get 0. First one is to attach multiple pieces of paper together, right? Okay? You've all got 1 as a score. Count upon your fingers how many different uses you can get. Away you go, now. So everyone, we'll get the scores in a minute, but who's secretly proud of one that they created? Give me some funny answers. A weapon, right? Okay. A tiny weapon, a tiny spoon, right? Okay. Who else had something involving illegality, weapons, or yeah? You join 0.01% of human society. Psychopaths. That's fine. So that's all good. That's all good. Now, who got more than 5 different uses? More than 10? Anyone get more than 10? Anyone get more than 15? Okay. Some people got more than 15. Now, what you won't believe is that is a test that's been done by NASA for the last, it started in 1967, to work out who are the most creative scientists and engineers to tackle the world's most audacious challenges. And they used it at NASA, really successful test amongst others. And they took it to other organizations like the Ford Motor Company. But they then took it to different demographics, different age groups. And they tested 5 to 8-year-old school kids on the same test done by NASA. Okay. What percentage of 5 to 8-year-old kids got to what NASA deemed creative genius level? A lot. I love that. So precise. We've got all in 100% on the front row. 98%. Okay, 98%. Amazing, right? Amazing. Which you can probably understand because kids are just great at using their imagination, all those things. Now, what was really cool was the same scientists there here took the same test on the road every 5 years, a longitudinal study. They tested the same people at 10, at 15, 20, then 25. So they're adults, 25 years old. What percentage of those people got to what NASA deemed creative genius level? Less. Yeah. 42, keep going. It's like a really bad auction, keep going. 13%. Yeah. 2%. And 2%. And some smart person of the week went, I wonder if it was a 2% that missed out on it 20 years prior. They just spent 20 years trying to perfect the test. We don't have that data. But the summary of the study was, it seems that creativity is unlearned. Non-creative behavior is learned. And I used to agree with this until actually I'm going to challenge this by the way I now frame creativity. I think they're measuring just one side of creativity. Kids are fantastic at it. The other side of creativity, we are brilliant at as adult human beings. So here they are, 2 sides of creativity, both essential. One is an expansive mindset, which you were doing then, using imagination, exploring possibilities, not challenging your thinking too much, not using too much judgment, to generate a lot of options. And then the other side of creativity is using expertise, the situation, the context, in order to make great decisions, called reductive thinking. And creativity absolutely needs both. Okay, kids are just better at the first. Yeah, classic example. Every morning I have the slightly military routine about getting the kids ready for school. 7:40, we're eating breakfast. 7:50, it's choice of uniform. 8 a.m, it's brushing teeth. 8:10, we're out the door. Okay, 7:40, we're eating breakfast. 7:50, I say to my daughter, look out the window, look at the weather. What are you going to wear? The shorts, the dress, the skirt, your choice. She goes, okay, Papa. Okay, multicultural family, you call your dad Papa, just so you know. And she used to, a couple of years ago, she used to then run down the corridor and come back dressed as Wonder Woman. Yeah? Brilliant expansive thinking at a really bad time. I needed just a better decision based on the options we had. So creativity needs both. What we just need to remind ourselves is that we were once kids. We can be more expansive day to day, but we need to remember that we were once kids. Hands up, who was once a child? Yeah. I was on a workshop the other week, someone didn't put their hand up. It was AI. Beware. So I think there's a little wrestle actually in your 12, 13. I was stayed at Andy's house, a friend last night, and one of his kids is 13. And I think 13, you're still very expansive, but you're being taught to be more reductive. There's one right answer. And I don't know if you hear those funny answers to exam questions that you get every now and again. You might have friends send it around on an email. These are my 2 new favorites. Kid gets asked the question, little session on hard and soft water. Briefly explain what hard water is. Exactly. Great answer. Ice. What was the mark given for that? Was it a big green shiny tick or? No. Yeah, exactly. So modern marking. It was definitely a cross and reprimanded. My new favourite, though, is this one here. Where was the American Declaration of Independence signed? At the bottom, of course. It's the obvious answer. So there we go. So, there's this little wrestle, but as we get to adult life, we're just ninjas. We're Olympic champions at making decisions, which is fantastic. It's half of the joy of creativity. But it sets up this, which is two sides of creativity, two different questions you can always ask yourself, which is, in any situation, what could I do or what could we do as a team in this situation? Generate as many possibilities as you can. A lot of options, yeah? Might be a 20-minute meeting. We need to think about new ways of engaging with a new client, a new customer in a pitch or whatever it might be. Hey, let's generate a few options. Then it's only useful if you protect a bit of time to follow up with the question, what will we do? Based on logic, rationale, bit of constraint, what's the right decision to take forward? So that, for me, if people want to frame what creativity is about, it's just about getting the balance between these right. Now, another way of framing this is that all through our day, we need to make lots of different decisions, important decisions, everyday decisions. And there's a great book on decision making, #1 book in the world on decision making. 2 authors. They thought long and hard about what to call it, and they called it Decisive. Okay, quick decision. Chip and Dan Heath, they write fantastic books, 2 brothers that get on so well, they write books together. And they talk about the #1 fail of good decision-making is not having enough options, okay? They call it narrow framing. You often come with a knee-jerk reaction and you don't consider any other options. So another way of framing what creativity is about is if you want to make better decisions every single day, just generate a few more options, okay? All good so far? Right, okay. However, sounds easy, right? Just do a bit more of that. 10% of your day, a bit more expansive thinking. That's all you need to do. But for me, there are 3 things that get in the way of it. #1 is you don't use your full brain potential every single day. You spend too much of in your day just in execution mode, jumping from one thing to the other. You also don't show up in the right way. Often our mindset isn't in the right way. So we need to think about that. And then the third one is we live a life on autopilot. Hands up in the room. If you when you're going into the office, you take the same route to get there. Yeah. Not that many people, obviously, well-traveled. Hands up who reads their news from the same platform, or you might even get a paper every single day or in the weekends, whatever it may be. Yeah, absolutely. So we love a life on autopilot. That's great. It keeps us efficient. Yeah, we don't see a shoe in the morning and think, what are all the different ways I could use this? You put it on and go. However, that spills over into our daily work when we're solving challenges. We live a bit in autopilot, so we need to solve for that. So the rest of the talk, I'm going to give you a few tips around this. So first quick question on the brain when you're having your best thinking. So just randomly, I'm going to go around the room and say, where or the other question is, what activity are you doing when you have your very best thinking? Keep it clean, if you like. I did once do it at a conference, and the first person I went to on the second row, sorry, Henry, it's not you, but they did say, making love. I'm like, that's really weird. And does your partner know about this? But where do you do your best thinking? Henry, apart from that, where do you do your very best thinking? On the loo. Anyone else a loo dweller for best thinking? Yeah. That's okay. Yeah. That's good, yeah. Other places, what are you doing? Lovely. Yeah, the joyful snooze, yeah, absolutely, yeah. Bit before bed, yeah. Yeah, exactly. So just as you're snoozing in the morning, just as you're trying to get to sleep at night. Other places? Walking the dog, that's mine. At midday, walk with the dog. Traveling around, actually. So repetitive motion of being on a train or a bike, whatever it may be. Yeah. Dreaming. Yeah. Write it down. Fantastic. Yes. Nice. Yeah. So bouncing off someone in a very informal setting is where you do your very best thinking. Yeah. Now, the only reason I frame that is when I've asked that question around the world, no one has ever said, at my desk, thinking hard, at the place where I'm contractually obliged to do my very best thinking. And it's just down to how the brain works. So a little bit of a tip on using your brain at its best. Just before I get into it, anyone in the room a brain scientist? No? Okay. Oh, no, not really. The only reason why I ask is that one of my clients is Roche. I was once speaking at their drug development conference, and I playfully said, is anyone an expert in the brain? 350 hands went like so. One of their blockbuster drugs is in neurology. And I playfully said, look, I've got some science here to share with you. And I shared it with them. And then the break came. I went and got a coffee on one of those plungy urns, you know, that you get in your... And this person came up to me, this brain scientist, and she said, Matt, you know that stuff you shared on the stage around the brain? I said, yeah. And the coffee cup was slightly shaking. And she said, it was correct. And we had a bit of a chat about it. Then she said, but just to be clear, in our world, it was really basic. And then she just disappeared into the crowd. And I was like, really left in my place. But my deep knowledge is in how it affects our ability to think creatively. Okay, so go with me on that. So your brain is made up of your conscious and your subconscious. Conscious is the bit that you use for problem solving, logic and rationale. The subconscious is the bit where every bit of information and stimulus in your life, every memory of a meeting, a great piece of communication, an event, gets stored there. And when you're at your creative best, it's when you connect the two. Yeah? Connect conscious brain to subconscious. You make a new connection. Steve Jobs used to say, creativity is just about connecting things you're not connected before. Okay? But there's a doorway in your head. It doesn't look like that, but it's called the reticular activating system that gives you access to your subconscious. Okay? And it is affected by what state your brain is in at any point of the day. Okay? So you'll recognize these. Let me go through them. The first one is called beta brain state. It's when you're trying to multitask. So I'm writing a proposal. I've got emails coming in. I'm planning dinner because it's my turn to cook. I'm thinking about the school run. When you're in this mode, there's no access to your subconscious. You don't make any new and different connections. How much of your working day do you think you're in beta? All of it. Yeah, a majority of it, 90%. Okay? So it's no good for creative thinking. It's no good for problem solving. However, there's a badge of honor about being in this mode. Ask a neighbor, ask a mentor, a mentee, how work is at the moment. What's the stock answer we give in society at the moment? How busy. If you're speaking to your boss, good busy, really good, really enjoying it, and really thriving, on the edge of collapse. And there's a badge of honor. Even one of the most progressive companies in the world, Apple, when people are working on big projects like the new MacBook, they wear hoodies saying 90 hours a week, and I'm proud of it. Yeah, it's pretty dangerous. In a study done of the top CEOs across Fortune 500 companies, they measured their day-to-day. It worked out they only actually spent 28 minutes a day of uninterrupted thinking time. Okay, they are the top people in those organizations. Busy is a badge of honor. However, when we're in this mode, our IQ drops by about 10 points. When we're trying to multitask, we drop by 10 points. So there's a great provocation, which is busy the new stupid? Okay, right. Next one is alpha. This is when the doorway opens up to your subconscious. Hopefully you're in this now. You're in learning mode. We've got a pint. 1 pint or a glass of wine is perfect to get into alpha. So well done, Elevate, for making this happen. 3 pints, we get into the next one. 5, we've hit the £1,000 thing, and you're in the... No, so, but this is brilliant for group creativity. So bouncing off someone, often it is that informality. You know, it's that cup of tea at random collision in the office. That's when we make new and different connections in group situations. This is where most of us do it on our own. This is when we actually super relax. We really switch off. So we're on the loo, we're in the shower, we're snoozing in bed at night, and we start to make new and different connections, and we can just about remember what's going on. Salvador Dali used to sit in his favorite chair. He used to put heavy keys in his hands and sit in front of an easel and relax into this deep hypnotic state. And then he'd wake up when the keys dropped on the floor. He'd losing body consciousness, the keys would drop, and he'd wake up and capture straight away what was in his mind. He also took enormous amounts of mind-bending drugs, which, you know, but in all seriousness, I have a lot of People I know who are very senior at the tech companies in California, quite open to admitting that part of their creative process is, microdosing. Yeah, a lot of mushrooms flying around. Who takes mushrooms in the room to help with their creative thinking? Yeah. Can we have a chat later? My supplier got busted the other week. No, so there we go. So the next one is so that is brilliant for individual creativity. You do your very best thinking here. The next one is delta, and this is actually the dream state where you're in deep sleep. And myself, colleagues used to dismiss this because you don't know what's going on, right? You're in deep sleep, but you actually make your most far-reaching neural connections when you're in deep sleep. Your brain really makes some different connections. That's why you have those amazing dreams. You just need to be able to capture them and remember them. So anyone in the room, like me, because I'm from the Northwest, is anyone here a Beatles fan? Give me a hand raise. Yeah. Okay, put them down. It's fine. Everyone else? Yeah, okay. So more Stonesy, all right, bit cooler, whatever. Paul McCartney one night dreamt the lyrics and music to Yesterday and the other song Let It Be in deep sleep. If the Beatles isn't your thing, but chemistry is, the scientist Mendeleev spent 2 years trying to make sense of the world's chemical elements, really stressed about it. And then one night dreamt the periodic table. And I don't know if you're like me, I cannot live without it. There we go. I don't make that joke at Roche. Anyway, so there we go. So, right. So you may be going, Matt, what's going on here? We recognize these states, right? Well, I've got a couple of tips. The first one is to recognize that the world of work drags us into beta. We love being busy. We love being distracted, trying to multitask. Is anyone's diary a bit like a barcode on its side, just back to back meetings all day? When you're in that mode, you get a thing called attention residue, which is the carryover from one meeting to the next. It's like a dark cloud that builds throughout the day. So what you need to do, my recommendation is about every hour, is get rid of this dark cloud and give yourself what I call the cognitive cleanse. I say every hour because there's studies that show the top execs, high-performing execs, are great at focusing for about 52 minutes and then they need a break. So about every hour, give yourself a break. When I'm at home, that is the mundane job. The bins need to go out. The cup of tea needs to get made. I need to throw the ball for the dog in the back garden. When you're working with others, for me, that's a quick quiz at the start of a conversation, a quick story, just to get people into your meeting rather than going, let's crack on with an overly busy agenda. All right? So a cognitive cleanse about every hour. The other thing to recognize is that this book here, Why We Sleep, a great read, is that we all fall into 3 different types of people in the world. I'd like you to join me, actually, if you don't mind. We'll do a little poll in the room. Who are you? Who in the room is a morning lark? You've got to make the noise of the bird. So it sounds a bit like this. Go on, give me the noise. Give me a little morning lark. That sounds like 40% of you. The world's population are morning larks. Do their best thinking between 6 and 9 in the morning. The civil rights poet Maya Angelou was exactly that. Booked into a restaurant to do all the best writing first thing in the morning. Who's at the other end of the scale there? A night owl. Give me the noise. Excellent, Max. Fantastic. It's getting quite creepy in Soho right now, but 30% of the world's population come mentally alive 5 p.m. and onwards and do their best thinking in the night, which means that in traditional working hours, only 30% of us, a minority, are midday hawks. Where are they? In the room, midday. Make the noise. Ah! No, not many. Do your best thinking in the middle of the day. So actually, it's very tricky to be on demand at whatever time of the day. Give me your best thinking. So here's another thought. Have a to think about. Who has a to-do list in the room? Yeah? A lot of people. Is it got lots to fun? Busy? Yeah? But very few people have a to think about list. And my only advice for the to think about list is it should only have, as a discipline, one thing on it. Because your brain will then default to it in sleep, on the loo, wherever it may be, and start to come up with new and different answers for it. So write it down, focus on it, reflect on it, sleep on it, and you will come up with new and different answers for the challenges that you face. Won't solve it, but you'll definitely get movement on your thinking. So that's my second tool, second piece of advice around how the brain works. Okay, let's deal with issue number 2. We don't show up in the right way. Very quick mindset tune-up. My big advice around these 2 modes is don't mix them in a single moment of time. I don't know if anyone's been in a meeting where you're trying to come up with some ideas. 5 of you are getting creative, and then one of you says, We tried that in 2004. It didn't work. Okay. Anyone been in that situation? Yeah. Kills that moment. Kills the psychological safety. And I've got a story to help you with that. Now, some elevators have heard this story. I've told it for years, but it is the best story you can tell around getting in the right mindset for creative thinking. So has anyone in the room ever been to a Hollywood swimming pool party? No? Normally there is one. Anyone been to a Yorkshire swimming pool party? No. Yes, thank you. Right, okay. So this story involves someone that's been to one. They're from California. Anyone know the company SRI? Yeah? Do you know them? They, you might not know them, but everyone in the room knows them, I'm afraid to say. If you look on your Apple iPhone and you do voice recognition, there's a certain word you would use to activate it. Yeah, they invented it. They just added a little I in there as well. So they invented the computer mouse, very creative organization. It involves that, and it involves this thing here, this little poo here, which is my son Bruno's favorite visual in the whole deck, just so you know. I don't know why he's 8 years old. So imagine you are, in fact, close your eyes, everyone. Dangerous to do in Soho on a Tuesday. Imagine you are at a Hollywood swimming pool party. All the great and good of Hollywood are there. Brad's over there, one side of the pool. Angelina's on the other. Touch awkward. But it's all good. You've got your favorite drink in hand, a Negroni in my case, and you've had really good connection with everyone that you've met, but you're getting a bit warm in that California sun. So you think, I'm going to dive in, and no one's been in that perfect infinity pool yet. So you're just about to dive in, but something stops you from diving in. It's something that's floating on the surface. Everyone open your eyes. It's this here. It's a piece of poo floating on the surface of the swimming pool, okay? So the person who told me this story was the head of Stanford Research Institute, Curtis Colson, very creative person, Californian accent, and he did a very playful poll with the group in the room. He went, who's going in? Who's going in the pool? And let's do a bit, actually, there's 10 poos in the pool. So I'm going to do a countdown from 10 and then down. When you're happy with the number that you'll be happy to jump in, I love this. So this is very early. We've got a qualifying question. How big is the pool? I'm going to say it's the 25-meter infinity pool, quite decent size. I've had a question. I need the exact ratio of poo to volume of water. I once had, when I was working with Andy in Dubai, one person from a major bank put their hand up and with this level of enthusiasm said, are they celebrity poos? And that is a worrying tone. I know it's for that. Right, who's going in with... What do you get? Oh, my word, there's incentives involved here. Okay, so just kudos. Who's going in with 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1? I love the fact you were cool with 7. Great. I mean, it's Soho, baby. It's fine. Curtis Colson's what's the moral to his tale is that it only takes one poo to ruin an entire Hollywood swimming pool party. And it's the same with creative thinking or Centre Parks, yeah. And the same thing. I'll adapt the story next time, yeah. Make it a bit more gritty, a bit more real. And it's the same in a moment of creativity. It only takes one person in the wrong mode at the wrong time, and that creative thought is destroyed. Sometimes people's confidence is destroyed as well. They won't come back with a new idea. They won't suggest provocations about how to do things differently. So if you don't mind joining me on a touch of Derren Brown, kind of on the edge of Little Britain, look me in the eyes. The first thing as people going back wanting to get more creative in your teams, don't be the poo in the pool. Yeah? Great, we've got you. All good. And then if you want to make sure no one's behaving that way, what you need to do is signpost to people. You need to signpost to people, are we building ideas or are we judging ideas? I used to make the mistake of going to my old boss. He was an ex-Radio 1 DJ, loads of experience in the world of radio. My first job was working in radio. And I used to go to him and say, I've got this idea. What do you think? And he used to destroy my ideas. And it's because I'd asked the wrong question. He said, what do you think? He gave me, I'll tell you what I think. I think it's terrible. We tried it in 1987. Okay. But if I go to that same person and say, hey, I've got this idea. Can you use your experience to help me build on it and make it stronger? Or, challenge me and make the idea new and different. Then actually it's very clear I want an expansive conversation. So if you're ever in a situation where people aren't behaving the right way, the best thing to do is say, this is a conversation all about about building options, or this is one about we need to make a decision in the next 5 minutes. Be crystal clear. Do not leave it to chance. Yeah, that's the first big thing on mindset. The second one is this. It's to recognize that you've got to be deliberately positive when you're building new ideas. Because actually, as human beings, we have an inbuilt negativity bias. Everyone recognize, anyone in the room a bit of a cynic? Yeah, I definitely get it. Anyone walk in tonight fresh to Elevate and go, talk on creativity, what's this guy going to make me do? Yeah, there's a bit of cynicism in all of it. I don't think there is in this room, actually, but it's just because we've got an inbuilt negativity bias, right? Let's see it in action. I've got an idea. Imagine you're not working in your role. You're working for one of the low-cost airlines. Let's say it was EasyJet, someone like that. And I'm going to walk into EasyJet's head office, which is here right now, and I've got a great idea. Seats are normally on the inside of aeroplanes, fair to say. Let's pop them on the outside. That's my big idea. Tell me if the negativity bias has kicked in, even though we're in a pub in Soho. Tell me if you've got some concerns in your head. Externalize them. What are they? It's a bit dangerous. Yeah, you get a sully moment, a bird in the face. Bit cold, capacity. Yeah, you won't get many. Yeah, exactly. No one said, as someone said the other week, you won't be able to get the right balance of gin and tonic. First class problems. So, you can't get enough seats. Yeah, exactly. Right. All I'll get you to do now is turn that on its head and be deliberately positive. Suspend any judgment, the next tool. Understand, where this thinking might be going, and nurture, build on the idea. Let's just see where it takes us. Tell me what's good about putting seats on the wings of airplanes. Amazing view. More seats. It's more immersive. It's an adrenaline ride. All those things. Fresh air. You get more revenue. Let's get down to nitty gritty. Yeah. Right. Okay. So that's very positive. You just suspended that judgment. Now, I'm not saying that they are finalized ideas, but if we were to take some of those, the first one Max said was you get an amazing view. There are some amazing ideas happening in the airline industry that give you an even better view. In the early days of flying Emirates, I did a lot of work in Dubai. They put the cameras all over the plane and you could select on your screen the pilot's eye view from your seat. Amazing stuff that could have come from a silly idea like mine, okay? People have taken that on further. There's a company called Windspeed Technologies that have got the Sky Deck, a little glass bubble that would sit on top of the plane, go up there for 30 minutes as part of your flight, one up from first class, already in production. And then this is happening, believe it or not, in Kent, right? It is windowless planes with highly flexible LED screens down the side, loads of cameras projecting what's going on, give you a sense of flying, okay, rather than feeling, claustrophobic. And not only would that be quite scary, I think, for some of us, but as a benefit, it would actually reduce fuel costs by about 10% because it's way lighter than windows and frames. Now, all I'd call out from a mindset point of view is if I'd gone into any airline company, it might have been even the marketing team, the creative marketing team, with a pitch of, I've got this idea, seats on the wings of aeroplanes, what would have been the standard response from most airline companies in the world? Go away, please. You're not welcome. Security probably involved, probably laughed out of the room. But if we get the mindset right of deliberate positivity, you generate lots of new and different options, okay? So then just to top that is that actually when we're doing that exercise, there's lots of laughter. So be playful. I work a lot with teams at Google, and they have a bit of a mantra when they're solving big problems, technical challenges, deep experts in the room, engineers. A phrase that came from Larry and Sergey is, you don't have to be serious to solve serious problems. Actually, when you engage with more your weekend self, within reason, and you bring a bit of joy into it, you self-express, you see where it's going, your brain opens up into alpha, sometimes theta, and you're able to generate those new and different ideas. If you take it too seriously, the furrowed brow, need an answer right now, you'll just default to what you've done before. All right? So mindset is absolutely key. And then just to wrap up, I'm just going to call out the fact the final problem is, whether we like it or not, we do live a bit of a life on autopilot. So I'm going to go playful quiz for you now. And just the caveat is, I'm going to ask you 3 questions about a subject that I've done a lot of research into. And I will not be offended with any answer. All right? That's the caveat. So the subject matter is me. Okay, I've done 49 years research into this project. I know all the answers, I'm sure. I've got 3 questions for you. Go look at me, hypothesize. My father, Frederick Russell Bolton, did the same job for his entire career. What was it? Vicar. I'm at the pulpit of creativity, huh? Teacher, accountant, baker, policeman, pilot, metal worker. Right, Max has touched upon. This is the kindest audience I've ever had in London. Normally, I just ask the question, and with the accent, everyone just goes, minor. And then they go, isn't that all you've got up there? Metal worker, no. But right, okay, second question. Not offended at all. What kind of car do I drive? Volvo. Huh? Tesla, Skoda. I love this. It's not just Skoda. It's like, you are such a Skoda driver. With a, yeah, okay. No one said Mini. That's an electric, some kind of electric car. And third and final question. Give me a weekend totally free. Do whatever I want. What would it be? Drinking, sleeping. That's it. That's all you've got from me. Walking the dog. Hiking. Yeah. Going to Cornwall. Absolutely. Yeah. Right, okay. Now, majority of the people in the room don't know the answers to these questions. Some of you I've known for quite a few years, and this might popped up in conversation. But you were able to give me an answer. Where did the answers come from? Assumptions. Where do assumptions come from? Social bias. Where does that come from? Judgment. Society. Where's that? Views on that come from the experiences you've had. Okay. So it's just to highlight the final thing, which is this. So recognize that this is a theory taken with pride from Edward de Bono's book, Lateral Thinking. Okay. The first person that really explored the relationship between the brain and creativity. He wrote 80 books on the subject of creative thinking, was self-titled the Godfather of Creativity. He used to be introduced on stage at events, the Godfather of Creativity. And I was like, what a great title and accolade to have. Who gave him that title? It was him. So amazing. But he came up with this, which is your brain is like a mountain. As you grow up, raindrops fall upon that brain, pieces of information, and it gathers, and you start to channel it. And when you got similar bits of information around similar topics, it channels it into rivers of thinking. The world of events, the industry that you work in, the specific job, you've got deep rivers of thinking, and they're fabulous. They keep us experts, all the stuff that you put on your LinkedIn to show what you're good at. The only problem is, when you're in a situation, your brain goes to what I've done and seen before it explores any other options, okay? So I guess just going back to the questions, unless you answered microbiologist, okay, an electric car, you were right, and I would go mountain biking, okay. Then you're in the land of assumptions, yeah, to the problems you face. So the one assumption you can always make is that you're always stuck in a river of thinking, something that you or your team has seen or done before, and you need to get out of that deliberately. It is compounded in groups. I know there's lots of book recommendations as part of Elevate. Rebel Ideas, is it one of them? Rebel Ideas is written to show the dangers of how when groups get together and they spend time together, they've got similar expertise, may have come from similar backgrounds, they develop echo chambers. Similar points of view echo back. Feels great when you're in that situation. Oh, we agree. It's amazing, isn't it, that we agree? But actually, you might just be missing the opportunity or not solving the right problem. Okay, so you need to get out of these social conformist echo